Nah, man. Welcome back to the MIC podcast, man. Episode 30 fucking 9.
Damn.
Wow, man. Yeah, man. We cranking them out, but I'm joined with a very, very funny dude, very talented dude, Jeff Fieldhouse in the fucking building, man. What's going on, Jeff?
Thanks for having me, dude.
Nah, man. Thanks for coming through, man. Thanks for making time. We can just, kind of hop right into it, man. Obviously, shout out to the tequila.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Dwayne The Rock Johnson of Fast and Furious 11 coming soon.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like, even the glass and having nice, you just feel rich when you're doing it.
Real shit, yeah. Yeah. Real
Terramana.
shit. Yeah. Got the Zoa flowing through us, brother. Nah, for sure.
My daughter knows me as the voice of that movie. You see the video. It's like, okay.
Like shit, no, bro, man. Nah, The Rock is nuts, bro.
He's
Bro, he's one of my favorite celebrities, wrestlers ever, man. But we can get into that another time. Yeah, I mean, bro. So, when did you first realize comedy was your talent? Like, I know that, just kind of that stage of thinking in your mind, hey, I can make people laugh. Is that kind of weird to say about myself? Is that kind of, I mean? Was there ever that sort of period for you? When did you realize that was your talent?
I think it was growing up because I was decent at sports. I was never really good at school in that sense.
I feel that.
I had dyslexia in certain places. So I would have to, it would just take me so much longer to learn shit.
Yeah.
And my brother and sister were very smart and we were always a very funny household. But I just felt like comedy was my comfort zone.
Yeah.
That's how I could shine and using being quicker and witty in moments and making people laugh. I was like, shit, this is my shit.
Word up.
And there's just a moment growing up where I was when I'm in doubt, if I'm nervous walking into a place, I'll usually make a joke or I'll do something to try to ease the tension. I just realized I was using it almost as my safety net, but also my comfort zone. But then growing up too, my family just loved comedy so much. Every Sunday we go to my grandma's and it was my uncles there and they would always read a bunch of books, Stephen King novels, and then we'd watch the new ones and then any comedy that came out. With my grandma, we're just watching Borat as a family.
Yeah.
And just hearing them talk about comedy, then going home, my dad was just such a comedy nut.
Yeah.
And showing us specials was ever since we were a kid. So whenever I was in high school, I was always making my friends laugh.
Facts.
And I would talk about doing stand-up because I loved it. And my friend Lexi signed me up for an open mic. And I was like, motherfucker.
Yeah, that's a good friend, though.
Yeah, she was really cool because I kept saying I wanted to do it. And I went, and it went well because I was with my friends. But then after that, it opened up my eyes. It's all right, well, I'm going to college next year in Florida for film school.
Okay.
That's a perfect time to go and suck when you don't know anyone.
Facts.
You're in a different state.
What college in Florida?
It was called First Institute.
Okay.
It's for video and film production.
Dope. Okay.
Yeah, it was 2 years. You get just a degree in both, but it was great because I was doing that during the day, and then I got to do stand up and host music shows during the night. So it just helped me kind of be able to hone in on that.
Nah, for sure. And then, I mean, so how did the open mic go? Did it? Yeah, I mean, how was that?
Well,
that feeling.
It was most of my friends there.
Okay.
So it felt really good because
you were comfortable and had seen them before and type shit. Yeah.
And they were laughing, and there was 4 other people that were laughing. And then the next night, I went out on an open mic, and I just texted one friend, and I was like, "Yo, let's go to this open mic on the bar." And we're driving there, and he's like, "World's yours, bro. Look at the city. It's yours." Go in there. I bomb so hard. At one point, one guy turns around and he goes, "Can we turn the TV up?" What are you saying? And I'm like, Jesus. And my friend's sitting there what's happening? And as we're leaving, I miss a step and I fall. And I scratch my hands up and I'm like, am I just gonna shit myself in front of him? This is just the most vulnerable. Shit comes in threes.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and it's so vulnerable.
Word
and I'm
up.
What the fuck? And we're driving home. He's just like, "Hey man, that was wild." I was like, "I know." What do you want me to do?
Bro, it's the dad in the car. Almost lost your day, didn't
yeah.
I? Yeah.
Literally. But that's how you know, I think you love an art form.
Word
it's
up.
an abusive relationship where you're but I'm coming back.
Yeah,
you just have to keep doing
and,
it.
Comedy specifically is definitely one of those, feels really the entertainment industry, as a whole is, you really just get beat down. And, I think, comedy more specifically, it's just you're standing in front of people, trying to make them laugh. And it, bro, like you said, it's a very vulnerable type of dynamic. You know what I mean? But when you ever, whenever you're able to find your stride, it's a real dope, dope feeling. You know what I mean? When you can make a room full of people laugh, I'm sure like that's a good ass feeling. But like,
Hell yeah.
what was your outlet like before stand up, if any? Like, did you try expressing your comedy in other ways
Hmm.
besides stand up? Like, did you make videos on social media? Like,
Hmm.
what was your
Well, yeah, ever since like my mom had like an early video camera,
yeah?
like I would do that probably since like fourth or fifth grade, and I have like old YouTube videos out like when I was a kid, and I would just do like skits like all the time,
Mhm.
and I think that's what helped me in high school because I was doing a bunch of sketches with my friends, and I've been doing it for years, and I was always editing them, and like for Christmas I just asked for like one of those flip video cameras where the USB came out of the side,
Okay.
and I just asked for like this really just real little laptop, and I would just use like GarageBand and like Movie Maker on that,
Okay.
and just edit like little stuff. So whenever I was graduating, I was like, well, I do want to learn how to like film and edit my own shit like professionally. So and like podcasts are coming up. So like how you're doing this, like
Mhm.
I have it at my house, and it's nice to know how to do the shit yourself, like what box lights to buy,
Sure.
how to shut this shit up. And I'm like, shit, that will save me a lot of money and resources if I can like learn that shit and then also do it. So now that like I'm starting to do comedy more, it's just nice to have like that outlet and know that like you can do it yourself like you are.
Can literally fucking do it yourself. I think we live like in a day and age where that's more possible than ever. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I mean, bro, like you said, YouTube shit, Google shit. Like, you don't necessarily have to go through traditional mediums to like get where you want to get to. And I think it's dope. It just like kind of levels the playing field. You
Yeah.
know what I mean, for people. You know what I mean? So that's definitely dope. But how long you been doing stand up?
7 years this year.
Holy shit,
Because
man!
I started when I was 19.
Wow.
After high school, and then I just turned 26.
Nice, man. That's dope. So like, who would you say influences you comedically?
I'd say like Andrew Schultz is one person.
Really?
Right now.
And shout out to Andrew Schultz, man.
Yeah.
He's a funny motherfucker.
He's
but
the shit, but this past like probably 2 or 3 years, his move from like
yeah,
showing comics how he literally set up his own studio
for sure.
and he's built like such his own fan base, and he started dropping like actual stand-up clips.
Yeah.
He was like one of the first comics to do that and
Yep.
put comics on the waves where it's like you got to put these songs out like tracks, you can't hoard them. And
Word
like,
up.
and now like that's what I'm starting to do is putting clips. That's how you found out. And
Yeah,
it's, like,
nah, for real.
just him motivating you in that way. And then I saw his stand-up live, and he just put on like a show where I was like, oh dude, this guy's elevating and showing us that like he's basically pulling like a Tyler Perry with creating his own shit.
Real shit.
And doing that. And I think that was just so motivating for comics. And now you're just seeing a wave of it where comics are like doubling down on a studio or they're running out of space and they're just like putting in that work. So like him for sure, just on like a work ethic point of view.
No, I mean, bro. So with Andrew, man, I was pretty big into listening to podcasts like in college. I was like, I mean, but like even before then, like when I got one of my first iPods, like even like the little podcast app, I would just like see
Yeah, what's up?
what it was about. You know what I mean? But like fast forward to college and stuff, man. The brilliant idiots was like
Idiots was
one of my
favorite,
bro. I would
dude.
listen to that shit, damn near religiously.
Mm-hmm.
So and like that's how I first got introduced to Andrew, and then just seeing him.
His progression, he was so like
It's crazy, bro.
He was so guy code wacky.
Yeah.
And then he found his stride, and he would like always try to push the buttons, and then now he found a way to like do it in a sly way.
Yeah.
But before it was just
before he
intense,
didn't care.
like,
Yeah, like before
was wild with it,
like
dude.
he
He was
was
like-
wild
Yeah.
with no like it was almost like taking an axe to something. He would
Yeah.
just like say wild shit, and then like whatever would trigger someone, he'd be like, okay, yeah. that I'm double down on that.
and he just want to work his way out of a hole.
Yeah,
Like, he'll say shit,
literally.
And he like won't even have an answer, and he's smiling, trying to think of it.
yeah.
And that's with
Facts.
Charlemagne too. Like once I got put into Charlemagne, dude,
Yeah.
like I have 2 of his books. He's just so fucking dope, and that's
Yeah.
just like they're dynamic. They're so different.
For sure.
I think it makes for a fucking
Nah,
sick
man,
show.
no, it made for a brilliant show.
Yeah, yeah.
No fucking pun intended there. But nah, like just like seeing this progression, and like you said, he was definitely one of the first to like drop those clips like that, and like just rapid content, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like here's where I'm at, here's what I'm doing, here's a clip of like like my best joke from the set, just like putting himself on. So like that's dope. So like anyone else besides Andrew, because like he's more of like a newer age, like,
Yeah.
and that's dope that that you even said that, like that means he's doing his thing. But like anyone else like in that category that like influences you?
So just like as a like workhorse, like
Yeah.
there's like certain people where you see that they're like journeymen where they've been doing it since like probably almost like close to a little over 20, 30 years now.
Facts.
And people like Dave Attell,
Okay.
where he's
yeah,
like
David
just
Tell's funny.
he's just so respected. And if you watch his stand up and he like the amount that he works and he goes out and still does all the clubs and still does all the weekends and he takes like so many cool people on the road. Like I've been finding out about a lot of his openers just from seeing who he brings on. And I don't know, like listening to his stuff when I was younger and hearing like the joke per minute. Like I remember watching this documentary where I think it was Seinfeld's
That's a
documentary.
crazy stat. Joke per minute.
Yeah, so you, like, and what are the laughs per minute? And Seinfeld was
crazy.
like listening to his set, and he was sitting in a room with a guy, and they were counting how long each laugh was after he talked. And he's like, "Oh, these 2 jokes, you're talking too long. There's no laughter. So what's your joke per minute?" So it was just like, it just blew my mind. So then I listened to Dave Attell, and he's telling like premise after premise after premise. And if you hear like an hour set, you're getting almost like 100 jokes because he's just like hitting it, and it's just like guys like him just motivate you to want to like just like tighten up.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
and just work hard and just seeing how long he's done it and he's still like fresh as fuck is just sick.
That's fucking damn. I had no clue about that shit, man.
Yeah.
Jokes per minute, like, I mean, you know, now that you're explaining it, like, it makes a lot of fucking sense. Like,
It's a weird like
dude,
algorithm.
yeah, like I don't even like that's fucking crazy. So like during his performance, like the one that like they were like, you know, taking the stats on, like, I mean, did you know like what the jokes per minute like off the top of your head and like or
that was my first time I ever like, heard it.
That's what I'm saying. Like that stat is crazy. Like I never heard that stat. Like as far as comedy goes before, that's fucking nuts. All right then. So I know because like I've seen interviews with like you know other comedians and like they're like, oh, whenever I'm coming up with material or this and the third, like whenever I'm you know preparing a set, I don't like watching other comedians. How do you feel about that? Like, do you feel like watching other comedians, following, you know, other comedians on like, you know, social media, you know, be it wherever, do you feel the same way as far as like I don't like seeing other shit when I'm trying to make up my own shit or like how do you feel about that?
I haven't watched like specials are so hit or miss now.
Facts.
In the sense of like if I'm gonna watch it.
Facts.
But there are like new YouTube specials of dudes that I'll watch where you just get inspired by like how they shot it and how they did it because sometimes you're so wrapped up and once you start doing something, you start looking at comedy in a different way. Like you start looking at it more like a business way when you're watching it instead of like whenever I was a kid and I was watching it and getting inspired. Like you'll see certain people where they're so themselves where I'm like, fuck, dude, I need to be more me on stage. Like he's just so fucking comfortable. So I'll do that. But yeah, usually during the week, I don't really watch like comedy that much. I watch like comedy TV shows a lot.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But yeah, no, I never made a thing where it's like, I can't. Like if I'm in the mood where I'm like hanging out and I'm like, shit, dude, I haven't laughed in a while. I'm gonna toss on like this old like Ron White special. And watch. I'm never gonna be like, well, I gotta watch out if I say that joke because I just know like he's a veteran and we're on such different levels. We have such different like perspectives.
Yeah, right.
Shit like that. But coming up with jokes, like I love like calling my friend Danny or like I'll text my like comic Seneca Stone. Him and I will just text back and forth and I'll say like, is this funny?
Yeah.
And he'll be like, this part is, or we'll just hit each other back and forth.
I feel that.
But I think that's the best too because once you have like a decent like amount of jokes in a sense, you can go to a mic and you can do like 2 that you know are gonna work and you feel comfortable about, and then you can try the new one. And I think that's like a cool way to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Like you know, just like pepper in the stuff that like you know like you're trying to work on.
Unless those first 2 bomb, and then you're like, well, here comes a new one.
Yeah. Here's another grenade. Yeah, I mean, shit.
Yeah, mics are fun though.
Nah, for sure. So like I kind of want like you know want to rewind back to after that first set that you bombed, like and like you tripped on a step and fell. Like, why go back? Why? Like I mean, and it's like obviously like you know kudos to you for finding that in yourself to continue, but it's like man, like anyone else would have just been completely turned off. Wasn't for me. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Like you know. Yeah. Like what for you were just like nah, fuck it. I'm gonna go back.
I know you love something so much like comedy that can't be my last like attempt ever.
Word up.
Where you fall on your face.
Respect.
Like the last time I play basketball, before I leave the court, even if I'm 2 inches away, I have to make sure it goes in the basket.
Yeah, before you
I
dip
can't
off.
leave
That's
on
a fact.
brick.
Yeah,
so
real
if I leave
shit.
on a brick, it's fucked up. So
Real
I was
shit.
like, as bad as that sucks, I have to prove to myself that that isn't like me, or find out maybe that is. Like I was
Yeah.
giving myself like 2 or 3. Like, all right, if this is gonna keep happening, like, that's fine. But in Florida, there was a lot of mics where it did keep happening, and it's like, but I just didn't know my voice in the sense of like how to translate me being funny around my friends and what makes me funny on stage. And instead, I was just trying to make up like funny stuff, and it just was like disgenuous in a sense.
Yeah.
And
Like
then-
you're just like kind of like throwing shit to a wall, seeing if it's stuck type of vibe.
Yeah.
Like,
And then that's where I was like, all right, well, I need to look in on myself. Like, I was going to mics, and all these people were like pissed I was there, and they're like, who the fuck's this young kid? It's his first year like in Florida. A lot of people didn't like me, and so that's where I like came up with the whole baby face thing, where I'm like started telling jokes about having a baby face, but then I have like a like bad hairline, so I'm like, you can't have an iPhone face and a flip phone hairline, and just little things of like, oh well, that's shit about me. And then once I like learned how to like talk about myself, more jokes about myself where I could like hit that I tried with friends in that sense.
yeah. And then you said something interesting about like, translating like, being funny around our friends to on stage. Like,
Yeah.
how did that process work? Because like I know like a lot of people, bro, especially nowadays, because like the internet has opened up the floodgates for anyone. Just like again, just put themselves out there, try them like, and I'm sure every person that's doing that has a group of friends that be like, yo, like you're mad funny, you should do stand, this and the third. How do you translate from like I don't know, and like you can be like like a funny person. Like, do you think it's possible to be a funny person and not be stand up funny, quote unquote?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a huge thing. Like my brother, like there's so many people I know that are like the funniest people. But when it comes to stand up, it's like it's a different way to deliver it.
Because like it's like a sport damn near almost. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's like they're 100% funny, but if they went on stage, I don't know, like like they probably could if they would actually do it.
Yeah.
But I just think it takes a different mindset to like frame it in in
Yeah, for sure.
and see it. Like I think it's like playing an instrument in a sense of like knowing how to do the chords and then matching the shit up. And I think because there's so many people I'll hang out with, I'm just like, even guys I work with at this factory job, they're like some of the funniest guys ever, and they're just saying shit, and they don't even realize it's funny.
Yeah, I know,
and I
right?
think like doing comedy is having the perspective of realizing what's funny.
Yeah, facts.
Grabbing that bubble and then like popping it on stage.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference of people who do comedy and don't, is people that you kind of sit back and take in the shit. Like you usually observe a lot. Like that's how I made a lot of friends, where we're just in a room, someone will walk in and just be normal. I look at my friend, we'll both look at each other and we're thinking the same thing, like, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah.
And just shit like that where it's like just observing.
No, I feel that. So how did you personally like hone that for yourself? Like when you were, again, like you just have friends, telling them that yeah, man, you should do stand up, like you're hilarious. Like how did you personally hone that and into like an on stage presence?
Probably like it took easily 4 years besides that before you can even like, because you just define like a good joke. And I think once you start getting like 5 minutes to where you can like trust that, that's what I said before, where you feel more comfortable taking a shot.
Yeah.
Like just taking a few different shots and finding that. Yeah. And also just like repetition, like the more stage time and the more experience you have, the more like less in your head you are. And like before I go to shows, I say the whole entire set in silence in my car, and I time it on my phone to see how long it is without like laughs.
Damn.
And it just gets me to memorize it. So if it's like a 20-minute ride, it's like, all right, if I'm doing a 10-minute set, I can say it twice on the way there. And then by the time I get on stage, it's like you're saying the joke and it's like muscle memory because you have it memorized. So then that's a moment to where if something happens in the crowd, you're in the moment where you can talk about the crowd and just like pause the joke, add on to them and go back.
Facts.
Instead of if you don't really remember the joke because you didn't practice, they interrupt you and you're like, shut up. And then you like try to go back to the joke. And that's where you see people get snappy. And that's what I used to do.
Yeah,
I'd be
facts.
like, let me finish. But now like a clip that I put up where I was like talking about like Hilary Duff. And then as
I
I'm gonna
literally
bring it up,
watched that before you came in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, yo, aren't you a little bit old to know who
this guy
fucking Lizzie McGuire is?
He was so excited. He's like 80. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Like, but that's where like I finally actually felt comfortable to like I was with my friends to be
Yeah,
like,
real shit.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
It's like, I think those are cool moments.
Word
to
up,
where,
for
like,
real.
I don't
Nah,
feel
man,
like I'm
for
like
real.
I don't feel like I'm like crazy good, but I just know in myself. I was like, I at least know that I like the 15 minutes that I have right now.
Yeah.
And I know like the more work I put in, the more I hang out with other comics that are grinded, that I can like start learning and building more and stuff like that. And especially the more shows I do, and like my all art show that I'm doing this Friday, where it's comedy first, music second.
Fire.
And then there's a live artist painting on stage the whole time.
When is this?
It's this Friday.
This next Friday coming up.
Yeah, it's on the 26th.
Okay, dope. All right, shit. I think I might have to pop out for that. That sounds dope as hell.
My friend Ty's performing. There's a few other artists performing. It's
Word.
Really cool.
Yeah, nah, for sure, bro. Okay, two things I definitely wanna, cause you spoke about heckling, and obviously, you know what I mean, you're a comedian, it's a part of the game. And like you said, like at first you were snappy, right? Like
It's so bad.
yeah.
It's
So like
fucked
you know, just like you know, kind of go into that. Like when you were like you know first in your stand-up career, especially like you know like in Florida when you were still finding your feet. You said like you know people didn't really like the you know style that like you were giving off at the time, at least like you know before you found your rhythm and shit.
Yeah.
Like how was dealing with the heckling then, man? Because bro, listen, man. Again, in the industry that you know we are in. It's a lot of egos. It's a lot of pride.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's like if you're going to you know, trying to make someone laugh, and it's like, yo, can we turn the TV up or like whatever he fucking said to you, like
moments like that, I felt like I couldn't combat back because they were right. Like I wasn't doing good.
And how much does that suck?
I wasn't prepared. So like I'm like, he is right. Like maybe I want to hear how the Penguins are doing. All right, dude, like toss him on. Like maybe I'll make a joke about like Sidney Crosby, dude. Like in moments like that, I can't. But if I'm like doing a joke and I'm hearing people laughing, and then someone's just like, "No, that's in the past," I'd be like, "Shut up, bitch." And I'm like, did I just call someone a bitch? Like that could be someone's wife. That could be like I could get hurt. Like what am I doing?
Yeah, no,
and I'm in Florida, and then I'm literally like,
stand your ground. I'm
just 20 years old. Like shut up, bitch. And I'm like, let me get back to my joke about masturbation. I'm like, it's just I had no rights to be like doing that.
Holy shit!
But now it's good whenever you're like saying a joke. Like I did a show in West Virginia, and this one lady was heckling, and like she said something crazy, and I was just like. Lady, I have no clue what the fuck you just said. And then she was just like, said it again. And I was like, number one, I'm dyslexic. And two, I hit the wax pen.
Yeah.
You're scaring me. And then she like said one more thing where she's like, if time is money, then money doesn't exist. And I'm like, you're broke. Like, that's all what that means. And it is just having like a funny back and forth instead of like, don't shit on them. Like that's just a bad host. Like when you're on stage, you're kind of hosting a party.
For sure.
You need to cater and make sure the room's good. And if you flip out, like,
it's like, yo, who is this? Is he good?
Yeah, and that's what happened where it would just be like that for that one time where I said shut up bitch and the lady's like what the fuck. I was like, but it was a bar where like Roseanne was on the background on mute and people were so into it. I was like, I like Roseanne too, but like it's like on mute. All your captions on and shit. Like
that's such a great Roseanne too. Like they're locked in some random Roseanne episode.
It's just
that's funny as
it's
shit.
Stupid. The funniest, this one lady, she just kept like talking the whole entire time. Like, and then at one point it was like this bar. It's called D's Caf in Southside, and it's just like this smoking bar that has like a bunch of pool tables. And like in between punchlines, just a guy breaking a rack. Just like,
that's funny.
Just like
shit.
breaks up, and this lady just kept yelling out, and I was just like, "You're the type of girl that walks into study hall and goes, I have homework. We all have homework. Sit down. Why are you telling us you have homework? Shut the fuck up.
Everybody
like,
this bitch got homework. Like the fuck?
It's study hall. Like just everyone has to know what you're thinking.
Sit down and hate your life like the fucking rest of us. Like
literally.
That's funny as shit. No, you're stupid.
But just find ways like that where it's like she was laughing too instead of. But ever since that shut up bitch, my one friend was like. Not the move.
Yeah, facts.
And you're gonna get your ass kicked. I was like, very true.
Very fucking true. Very plausible. And like, especially like at 20, bro. If you fucking sat me down at 20 years old, I probably wouldn't fucking have listened to like to a word you were saying. Like, you know what I mean? Like I thought I was fucking invincible at 20. Like no one can fucking do nothing to me. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, you're up on stage and then you don't realize once your 5 minutes is done, you're in this like low key bar. And you don't have protection. Like, this wasn't your show.
Yeah, facts,
so now you're just, like, walking into a parking lot with the dude that you called his wife a bitch. You're just like, wait, there's no protection. It's not like stage door.
Real
like,
shit,
what am I doing? So I'm happy it happened then. And I'm happy I started in Florida.
Why?
Because if I would have did it, like, here, around all my friends and family in those first, like, 4 years where I was, like, it just wasn't that good and I was trying to figure it out, I couldn't have, like, one of my dad's coworkers at the bar be like, Sammy, what the fuck's your kid doing down the street? Like, what's going on? Like, I moved back whenever I was like 5 years in. And I actually had like 5 to 10 minutes I was comfortable with. Yeah. And that's how I got to meet like a lot of dope people in Pittsburgh.
That's fire.
And I felt way more comfortable coming back with like a little confidence than
Damn,
starting
so
and
like,
sucking.
kind of go into that a bit more. Like, do you feel like a lot of comics should take that route? And like, again, I know it's like a lot, but like, as far as because like you were talking about the friends and family. Do you feel like even if your jokes weren't polished, weren't honed up, that they may have given you like a false sense of like, oh no, like you're doing all right. Like, do you think that was the issue, or like, did you just want to, move or like not move away, but it's like not come back home until like your shit was like ready, good to go, and at least you were comfortable with it? Like, yeah,
It weirdly didn't work out in that way because like 2 years into film school, my parents moved to Florida for their job,
okay,
but they moved to like South Florida
I got you.
near like Fort Lauderdale and stuff like that. So they would come out to like certain comedy shows, and like ones that weren't good. My dad like came out to a couple mics with me, and it wasn't good, and they just don't really say anything. They're like, all right, and that's how you know it's just like fuck. But then once I started like getting certain jokes, and I would always film my set, and you see them. That's why I text my brother. He's really funny, and he's just like, that joke hit. Like I'll send him jokes, and they'll be like, nah, man. I mean, I get they're laughing, but I feel like it could be way better. And shit like that. So they were just always very real. And like I said, they're super funny. So I just respected their taste so
For
much.
sure, yeah.
And it just weirdly worked out that I wanted to come back to Pittsburgh because I was just there. And I wanted to leave Pittsburgh because I was like the funny guy around my friends, but I was nervous that like
Once you left that bubble,
yeah,
that like it wouldn't like translate to like other people.
you know, like what is that comfort zone? And I don't know if I would have kept doing mics. So I think I would have been happy with just on the weekend being the funny dude.
Yeah.
And then just getting a normal job.
Yeah,
and stuff
facts.
like that. And now I'm a 9 to 5, but it's like 7 to 3, and it's
a
Monday
good
through
shift.
Friday.
Yeah.
I just wanted to work like 40 hours a week,
Yeah.
still able to do mics, and then have the weekends off for stand up.
Facts.
And I think that's like the best of both. But yeah, I just don't think I would have like taken as many risks if I would have just had the comfort zone of like my family, my friends. And
I agree with you, man. I mean, just like a little bit about like my story. Like I moved out here last year to like help my man with this media company, which is like he's doing like the vision that he's creating for it is fucking beautiful, and like I'm seeing it built, and like he just happened to include me into that vision.
hard.
And like I definitely feel, because like I was definitely like the dude that was like funny like around his friends and stuff like that, you know what I mean, like within my like immediate like a circle of friends.
Yeah.
So I definitely get that feeling of like I'm coming to a city where like I really only know like maybe 4 or 5 people like on my hand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, bro, people down the street don't fucking know you from a bag of fucking
Yeah.
nails on the fucking floor. You know what I mean? So it's like, bro, yes, you're funny, you're cool. All right.
Yeah.
If you're funny, like the cream is always gonna rise to the top. If you're funny, you're gonna be funny. So
Yeah.
it's like take that and remove the safety net of like like your friends and your family of like like them calling you and like, hey man, get up in front of people, hone that shit. If it's not funny, cool, all right, let's polish it up, let's make it funny type shit. You know what I mean? So like I definitely understand that for sure.
Well, enjoy the grind period too, because that's like you're almost like in the private gym. It's like the Rocky 3 where he goes out to the country and grows a beard.
Yeah,
like you're kind of like
facts.
you're working and building your resume.
Facts.
So when you come out, you're just like a fucking diamond in the rough. And when you come back to your comfort zone, you're just flexing because you just
Word
know
up,
exactly how to
facts.
act. You know?
Literally. So I mean, like, how was like your time, like again, just finding your rhythm in Florida? Like, did you? What was life like out there when you were going to school?
It was pretty depressing for me because I went from like hanging out with my girlfriend and all my friends to living in an apartment by myself.
Word up.
And the school wasn't a university. It was like on its own, like it was like on a commercial business area. And it was like 20 minutes away from my apartment, so it wasn't like after class I could see kids my age and hang out. And the average people in this class had like kids and day jobs, so they weren't trying to make friends.
Word, yeah,
Shit,
facts.
like, and I looked like a narc, so like.
I looked like a narc.
No one got
Wait,
me
how?
bud. No one got me alcohol. I looked like I was 12. Like I just looked so young.
Undercover and shit. Yeah.
And I was 19, and I'd be like talking to a dude after class, and I was like, he brought up smoke, and I was like, yo, can you like give me some? And he's like, nah, man, it's cool. And I was like, what? He's like, I just my friend's not cool with selling other people. I was like, yeah, you get it, and I'll just get off. He's like, nah. And I was like, how about some alcohol at the Wawa? He's like, nah. And I'm like, bro, I'll show you my ID. Like, I'm not a narc. Like,
Yeah,
it was just so hard to make friends. So that's where like
that's funny.
open
shit.
mics just was an outlet because I was just like stuck in my crib all
Yeah,
the time,
man.
just in my head, and I was already an anxious person. I was like, did I make the wrong decision? Like I'm out here, I'm doing mics, and you go to